Welcome back to Teen Titans Classics, parentheses, New Titans era. That's simply what the series is all about. They pretty much go over almost the entire era of New Teen Titans, from 1980 to 1996. That era I'm covering. I know I have another series dealing with the X-Men Classics, where I cover the issues in the 60s. This is all about the Teen Titans in the 80s and 90s. I am going to do the first era, which lasted from I think like 1963 to 1978. I will cover that era, but not right now. Okay? Alright, first up, I'm covering the first two issues of New Teen Titans. Here's the cover for the very first issue of the series. Now, this cover is done very awesomely by George Perez. He's the one who draws this cover. This cover looks absolutely gorgeous. Yes. So the issue opens up kind of in the middle of the action in a way, with the Teen Titans fighting the aliens. The aliens are called the Gordanians. Now, some people are thinking, the Gordanians, weren't they the enemies of the Themyscirians? Yes. That wasn't Justice League Unlimited during that three-parter Starcrossed. This is how they look in the comics, which is not that much different from how they look in the Justice League Unlimited TV show. So we cut over to seeing an epilogue. Probably the only time the series cuts over this. You have Starfire escaping from the Gordanians, and she's not technically referred to this point as Starfire. She's referred to her name as Commodore. Yes. So she fights her way out and see this. You see, this is what their ships look like. Yeah, this is a slave ship. The Gordanians are slavers. So you see, and here's the thing. At this point, Starfire is not speaking English at all. She's speaking her Tamarine language. So you see her escape in this escape ship, and she flies her way toward Earth, and then we see Chapter 1, The Birth of the Titans. And we see Dick Grayson basically at the Wayne Foundation in Gotham City, having a dream about what happened during a sneak preview. It's like, oh no, New Teen Titans, not again. And then we see Raven, who actually, from his perspective, is real. One thing I noticed, though, about the 80s is that a lot of the women, I'm not sure exactly why this is, it's like the artists like giving them round tummies, like they look like they're pregnant, even though they're actually not. I noticed this is only the case in the case of DC Comics. The only comic I've seen this in is Teen Titans. In Marvel, I see this for Scarlet Witch. I'm not sure exactly what was the procedure for how they draw women at this point. But why these round tummies to look like they're pregnant? Yes. I really wish someone would give an explanation, or at least a theory of why that some women look like this. Her breasts are fine. I'm not complaining about her breast. It's her belly I'm complaining about. I mean, you can almost say that Raven looks chubby. Or pregnant. I don't know, but as far as I can tell, when you see other shots of her, she's thin. But for some reason, George Perez draws like she has a big round belly. I'm not sure exactly why this is. I know this is a minor thing. I'm not sure why 80s, where a lot of women were actually, some women were actually drawn like this. I'm not sure why, but I would love to find out. So we see basically, we're going to be coming to Robin for his aid. So, Robin first calls Wally, who's out of the superhero biz, and he mentions that Robin had left college at this point. Dick Grayson was going to college at this point. Now, Dick Grayson, at this point, I think he's supposed to be 18. Yes. I'm not really sure, but I think he's 18 at this point. I don't think he's like 20. I think he might be 18, which still makes him old enough to be a Teen Titan. Yes. Now, he remains Robin for about 4 years. Until the Judas Contract story, which he becomes Nightwing, which I will get to eventually. So, Robin has a no-go with Kid Flash, so Raven decides to deal with Kid Flash. So, Bruce decides to go out. So, and here's a cameo by Bruce Wayne. Smoking a pipe, which I don't think the Earth 1 version of Batman actually did this. I know the Golden Age version of Batman did this, but not the Silver Age version, no. And they're kind of basically hesitant over each other because Bruce is basically unhappy with Dick because he left college. So Dick rides out on his Robin cycle. I am not really sure when he got this, but he does have it. And we see Robin, well, you see, and then he cuts away, you see Robin seeing Raven in the sky in her soul self. That's what this is called. This is Raven's soul self. And we cut away to Wonder Girl, who is saving people from a... and of course we get sort of a flashback to her origin story a bit. Probably her original origin story that was presented in the original Teen Titans series back in the 60s. And we see Robin meeting up with Wonder Girl. And you see like a dog with green skin. It turns out it's Beast Boy! Yep, Beast Boy. And he decided to call himself Changeling. Then Kid Flash shows up. Yep, talking about Kid Flash shows up, and they go about, and then they run it, and then we cut away to Cyborg, basically doing a track thing at running track at Newark City College, New Jersey. And see, you can see he's actually a really good athlete. I've got to admit, George Perez does a fantastic job drawing this. And you see he's very angry at the coach and not allowing him on the team. That is happening. So this is his tracksuit. And we see underneath it's his full cyborg look that he would go under. Now, as far as I know, Victor Stone would not receive an upgrade to his look until the early 90s. That's when they upgrade his look. But this is like long after George Perez left the book. My guess is the reason why they never changed Cyborg during this time frame, like even afterwards. I'm sure probably the editors probably wanted it. They probably asked George Perez many times just to update his look. Like how everybody else gets updated looks, but Cyborg doesn't. But I think they waited until George Perez left the book. So that's probably the reason why you see... Probably the reason why you see now Cyborg shows less skin than he does now. It's just how the times work when it comes to drawing Cyborg. And then we see most of the Teen Titans have pretty much met up with each other. And now why they got summoned is not really brought up until a few issues in. So they cut away to the reveal they're actually fighting the first bad guys, the Gordanians, in this wonderful splash page. Yep. We feel it's alien invasion. Everybody's still fighting. This fighting goes on for several pages. And we have a brief conversation with between Wonder Girl and Raven, who's looking for their final member. So, and of course, it cuts away to a hospital where Starfire is at, and we see the first appearance of a new character, who, by the way, these two are the all-new characters who make their debut in this very series, who make debut in this very issue. On the left, the one with blonde hair, that is Grant Wilson. On the right is his girlfriend. Let's see. Let's see. The girl's name is Carol, and she's not happy with him because he brought because he brought a sexy alien princess to their apartment. That's why she's upset. Okay, fine. And then the Gordanians show up and break into their apartment while they're there. And then Raven shows up and just helps out with Starfire, helps her get out of the building. And of course, they're still fighting the Gordanians. The fight goes on for most of the issue, fighting the Gordanians. And then Grant basically gets upset at Rob and grabs his arm. Says he busted up his apartment, and he's not very happy with that. So, and then Carol's like, it's no fault but his. So pretty much his girlfriend, from what I can tell, breaks up with him. And then we cut away to somehow the Gordanians got their hands on Starfire again. And then they're all like talking to each other, and and the Gordanian commander, sub-commander, kills his subordinate for questioning his orders. And then Raven shows up and pretty much brings in the Titans to the Gordanian spaceship. And Everybody just talks for a bit. Starfire's still not speaking English. So so pretty much from this point forward until almost the very end of the issue, Starfire is basically in Robin's arms for the rest of the issue. You have Cyborg basically cutting through some Gordanian circuitry. Now, Starfire has not done that thing yet, which she did in the Teen Titans TV show. I'll mention in a moment what it is. But then the issue ends with them basically contemplating what happened. And, of course, the Gordanians get away. They'll probably come back later. Yeah. So everybody's very happy Teen Titans assembled. Then Grant Wilson is upset, basically. And then somehow Hive hires him. And that's actually the first reference to Hive. But this is probably by far considered by many people to be one of the best issues of this series. Because this issue has the first appearance of not only Hive as an organization, but quite possibly one of the greatest characters Marv Wolfman and George Perez ever came up with. Slade Wilson, Deathstroke the Terminator. Yeah, this badass makes his debut in this very issue. Heck, they refer to him by his actual name, Deathstroke Terminator. I forgot to show the cover. Yeah, this cover is an awesome looking cover because you see Slade Wilson just in shadow. Basically goes like this. He says, well, Grant Wilson becomes Ravager in this issue. This is Ravager, who's Grant Wilson. He says, "Too late to save your fellow Titans, Raven. I have just killed them all." And then here's Deathstroke says, "Wrong. You didn't kill them. I did." When I first saw this cover online, because I never read the issue when it first came out because I wasn't born yet, I'm thinking, this is an awesome cover. Like, I really wanted to read this issue. Like, who the heck is this guy? And this Deathstroke. But, yeah. Yeah. And basically, now he agrees to do it, but if they pay in advance, and then they said no. And then they try to take him out. Yes. They try to take out Deathstroke the frickin' Terminator. And he attacks them, and they somehow turn out they're holograms. Yeah, and he gets away. So, and we cut away to from Hive to the apartment of Carol and Grant Wilson. Grant Wilson is Deathstroke's son. Where something bad happens in this very issue. It says, "If I were told you about my father and my brother," his brother is Joseph Wilson, a.k.a. Jericho. What he doesn't know is that his father is that he also has a half-sister, but she doesn't make her debut until the Deathstroke series in the 90s. And yes, I do plan on doing a retrospect in that series as well. Eventually, that's in the works. So, she tells him to take a hike. So, he basically gets upset that and then Starfire attacks him. He gets upset about it. Starfire attacks him. He's still not speaking English yet. So they cut away to where, well, actually, then Grant Wilson leaves, and then the Teen Titans show up. Well, and then we cut away where we see Wonder Girl, Starfire there. Kid Flash shows up for a meeting, tells him there's a meeting, and then Robin says, "Let's get him." And then fights these guys. This is probably like their first official type of case or thing they've done as of the Teen Titans after they officially formed. And they take out some trucks, and then everybody's attacking things. Starfire basically. And here's something I've been wanting to talk about. Basically, no one can understand a word she says, or probably she can understand what else is saying. So she does the most craziest thing possible. She makes out with Robin. Yes. And by the way, yes, this did happen in the sort of prequel episode in the final season of the Teen Titans TV show. This did happen. And yes, this also happened in the Starfire series to speak English. So she just makes out with them because she wants physical contact. But she says that the reason why that she did this later It's because she felt like it. He says, hey, Robin, you know you're really cute. Huh? She talks, but how? Physical contact, Kid Flash. I simply absorb your language. You had to kiss me to do that? Not really, but it was certainly more enjoyable this way. I just think that's just so funny. That explanation, just so funny. Yeah. Of the explanation of why she had to make out with Robin. Oh, in case you're wondering. It takes 2 years for these two to become a couple. I'm not kidding about that. Yeah, and of course they try to question these guys. Pretty much it's just test robots. And we cut away to see Deathstroke just observing them. We also see the first appearance of another character. This is by far the third and last character who make their debut in this very issue. And this is this guy right here. That's William Bill Wintergreen, who is Slade Wilson's mentor and butler, in a way. And in some way, he's like Deathstroke's version of Alfred Pennyworth. That's simply what he is. He has many things in common with Alfred. Like, for one thing, he knows about Slade Wilson's lifestyle. He served his family for years, and he's ex-military. So pretty much Marv Wolfman probably wanted someone like a Alfred-like character in this for Deathstroke, because they probably make him to be sort of an alternate Batman if he ever used guns. That's simply what Deathstroke is. Though Rob Liefeld ripped off this character a decade later with Deadpool. And of course, he gives information about HIVE, what they stand for, and HIVE stands for Hierarchy of International Vengeance and Eliminations. And then it cuts away to HIVE's headquarters, where Grant Wilson is undergoing the experiments that they try to recreate the experiments that Deathstroke went under. Yeah, this is explained later in his backstory. I'll explain that further when I get to it. And then we cut away to Raven on some hot rocky cliff, just talking to somebody like something's coming. This build-up happens for a little while, and then it's revealed that the whole thing was actually a dream. And Kid Flash shows up. Apparently, Raven is in his dorm room for some reason. Now, Raven does this thing where she apparently disappears without a reason. Of course, we cut away to the Dalton Mansion, which is where Beast Boy lives, because his adoptive father is Mento and his adopted mother is Elastigirl. And of course, they're trying to figure out what to wear. And I'm so glad George Perez does not show her rear end, because her hair is so freaking long. Basically, in this very panel, Starfire is butt naked. Even though we can't see it, she's butt naked. That's why she's only wearing her swimsuit. Trying to figure out what it is. So Ginger's real name is, even they call her Starfire, it says her real name is Coriander. Later on, they call her Cori for short. In case you're wondering, this is a question later asked by a character a little bit interested later. And they ask her, can she see with her eyes look like the way they are? Yeah, she can see perfectly fine. And then we cut away to them outside with them in their trunks. And boy, oh boy, George Perez draws Wonder Girl and Starfire to be smoking hot in those trunks, in those swimsuit. And looks like that Robin, well, Dick Grayson, I don't think that's a Speedo. It's too big to be a Speedo. I'm not sure exactly what that is. I'm not really sure. Let me see everybody swimming. Cyborg is still mad at his father. And of course, something explodes. And then a wall explodes. And then we see Grant Wilson, first time in the issue as Ravager. And by the way, this is the only issue he ever becomes Ravager. But he does later come back years later in the Jeff Johns Teen Titans book. Mm-hmm. Yes. So you have Grant Wilson basically as Ravager. So He attacks the Titans. First, he attacks Cyborg. Of course, Cyborg just somewhat easily defeats him. And then Cyborg tells him something's wrong, and we cut away to Deathstroke, who apparently knows all about what of course Ravager gets away. Of course, he knows all of what Hive did to him. I don't know if, as far as I can tell for this issue, Grant Wilson does not find out that his father really is Deathstroke. So he puts on the costume. He doesn't take a hike, and he says he's the best hitman in the country, even though he's a mercenary, the best hitman in the country. Puts his mask back on and just leaves. And then we cut away to Grant attacking the Teen Titans again, and they fight for a little while. And he says, "You followed him." And somehow according to this, Hive expected the Terminator to get involved. And in case you're wondering, this Terminator, his name as a Terminator, predates James Cameron's The Terminator by 2 years because this came out in 1980. Yes, the issue came out in 1980, and I believe, actually this predates him by 4 years because the Terminator film came out in 1984. If you look it up on the Wikipedia page, they bring it up. Basically, he predates the username The Terminator by 4 years, despite the fact that he isn't called that very much. But some people are thinking, oh, it's copyrighted because it's James Cameron, because Cameron probably knows the name Terminator. No, DC had predates it by about 4 years. So yeah. And then we cut away after the brief interlude with Hive, and we see the Teen Titans fighting Ravager and Deathstroke, doing a team up. And this fight lasts by several pages until Grant basically sort of succumbs to the experimentation that Hive put him under. And Raven's like, he's probably like, "We'll rest us off anything." And Raven's like, the boy is dying. Let's end the fighting. Take him, Terminator, and go in peace. Raven, and I was like, "Raven, where you been?" It says she's been meditating the whole time. And then we see revealed that because of the experimentation, Grant Wilson has aged about 50 years. And he just withers and dies. And he says, "We killed the Titans." "Kid, yeah, we did." And he just leaves. And of course, most Titans are knocked out unconscious. So even though he's in a haze. So apparently Grant Wilson, according to this, he was 19 years old when he died. And Deathstroke blames the Titans for his death. So even though the Hive actually did, so he blamed the wrong people. And then the issue just ends with Deathstroke out of costume, and basically everybody's like sad to see Grant Wilson die. And then we cut away to a funeral, well, sort of a brief funeral. You see Carol Stecky, who was Grant's girlfriend, at his gravesite. And this is Slade Wilson unmasked. Apparently, he's an older man. He's got a patch over his eye, and he's got a partial goatee. In his origin story, which is explained in the Pendulum issue of the Jews Contract storyline, it explains how he got his eye that way. So, the issue ends simply with Hive basically just briefing, just overlooking the funeral of Grant Wilson. And then we have, and it says next we have Debut of the Fearsome Five. Next issue says we also have The Origin of Starfire, more Raven secrets, and the creation of the most villainous supergroup of all, the Fearsome Five. Join us, we promise, make it worth your while. And that ends issue 2. Overall, what I think of these 2 issues? These 2 issues were absolutely great starters for the series of New Teen Titans. You get to see the debut of of Deathstroke the Terminator, one of my personal favorite characters. I probably like him a lot better than the actual heroes because of how much development he goes under. He's probably, along with most of the characters you see on this very cover, with the exception of not much development for Changeling, not a lot much. I would say by the end of this run, most of the characters on this very cover do undergo development. And I should also mention, no one joins the team until around issue 28 when Tara becomes the first recruit to join the team. But pretty much the lineup stays pretty much the same for a little over 2 years. And that's actually really good for a series like New Teen Titans, because unlike most group series, within just a few issues they get brands to make a new member. They want to update the status quo, like having the member join. This is one thing I think a lot of people praise Teen Titans for. They keep the lineup to these 7 people for the better part a little over 2 years. Now, these issues were released in November and December, respectively, of 1980. And these issues are wonderful enjoyment to read. And I give these 2 issues a 10 out of 10. Okay? Alright, stay tuned for the next episode, where I'm going to go over the next 3 issues of the series, go over issues 3 through 5. But until then, I'll see you there. Bye.